Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Miranda Nider. I am a supervised clinician here with Blueby Counseling. And for the next 4 weeks, I will be leading us in a class titled Exploring Emotions, Understanding, Expressing, and Managing Your Feelings. So, this first week, we are going to focus on introduction to emotions and emotional awareness. So, the first question, what are emotions? So, emotions are complex physiological states that involve a combination of physical, mental, and behavioral components. So, with physical, emotions can trigger a physiological response, such as maybe change in heart rate, breathing, muscle tension. For example, fear can cause us to have a racing heart, sweaty palms, or shallow breathing. Anxiety can also cause these too. And with each emotion, you can kind of reflect and take a look on, okay, what am I physically feeling right now? So with happiness, are we maybe having a quicker heart rate too because we're just so excited? Like Christmas is coming up, and are we feeling that anticipation and that excitement of Santa's coming, or I get to give this person this gift I'm super excited about? And do we feel this maybe quicker heart rate? Do we feel maybe like a warmth in our chest? Do we feel maybe our face getting a little bit warmer, just with some excitement, or our cheeks start to kind of hurt because we're smiling so much? And going back with a different emotion, with maybe anger. For anger, I know I clench my jaw. It becomes more physical just right here, and maybe I'll clench my fists a little bit too, of just like I need to feel this pressure with this anger that I have. So I'm not having it build up inside of me, but I'm having it do something else. But I noticed that change in my body of what I am physically doing when I'm feeling these different emotions. Um, but these are all physical reactions that are controlled by our nervous system, and they prepare our body for the emotional responses that we're about to have. It's kind of like a fight or flight reaction, but with emotions. For mental, emotions involve cognitive processes like thoughts, interpretations, and evaluations. For example, happiness may lead to positive thoughts about maybe a recent achievement. If we are feeling the emotion of maybe sadness, we're reflecting on just something sad that's happened to us, maybe recently, maybe a long time ago, but we're starting to kind of make that connection of this feeling is what I felt when this happened. And you can kind of just have that, maybe that connection, maybe that validation of this is what my mind was thinking, or this is how my body was during this event. And it kind of interprets our thoughts and evaluates of, okay, this is what happened last time and this is what I'm feeling now. So um but these mental processes assess situations based on personal significance. So going back to last time I felt this is what happened. And you're able to kind of perceive this emotion that we're starting to feel as either a benefit or a threat. And then with behavioral, emotions often lead to visible behaviors such as facial expressions, body language, and actions. For example, anger may cause clenched fists or shouting, while sadness may lead to crying or withdrawal, or happiness can lead to jumping up and down, hugging someone, clapping, even sometimes kicking your little feet of just like, ooh, we're super giddy and excited. But these automatic responses help communicate emotions to others and influence our social interactions with others. So people can see clearly what we are feeling. and they can also kind of feed off of that as well. So, okay, the science behind emotions. So, I like to think of this kind of as the control center from the movie Inside Out. So, the brain, specifically the limbic system, plays a crucial role in our emotions. The limbic system, a network of structures deep within our cerebral cortex, is responsible for regulating emotions, motivation, and behavior. Key structures within the limbic system include the amygdala, hippocampus, and the hypothalamus. The amygdala processes emotions like fear, anxiety, and anger. When faced with a threatening situation, the amygdala signals to the hypothalamus, which activates the fight or flight response. So essentially, the brain's limbic system acts as the control center for our emotional responses. So our limbic system is that control panel in Inside Out. And it will send different messages with the emotions that we're starting to feel. So kind of like when um, a different emotion, like maybe anger, takes over the control panel, it sends that message to the rest of the brain, and it has that physical, maybe behavioral or mental responses that we just really talked about. Okay, so the purpose of emotions. So, emotions serve as a signal system guiding our behavior by providing valuable information about the environment and interactions. They help us react to situations, navigate social relationships, and enhance survival by prompting actions like avoiding danger or seeking positive experiences. So, key points about emotions include survival mechanism, social connection, decision making, motivation, and information processing. So, with survival mechanism, emotions like fear trigger the fight or flight response to help us escape threats. So, it's a very quick thing that we have going on, and it's very mechanical, of like kind of like a switch flipping of our emotion of fear is happening. So we see something, we become fearful, or we're starting to experience something and we're becoming fearful. And that fight or flight kicks in. And we'll start to see some physical responses with that fight or flight, such as, are we going to fight? Are we going to maybe start to stand our ground? Are we going to become more persistent? Or are we going to fight? Are we going to just kind of walk away from the situation? Or maybe even run away from the situation, and maybe start guiding topics around things and start to kind of become avoidant. Social connection. So emotions like happiness and sadness aid in communication and understanding with others. So not just happiness and sadness, but all other emotions. But these are ways that we can kind of connect with other people when we're all experiencing something super happy. Like, again, Christmas is coming up. This is something that's super happy for a lot of people. And we're getting together with some family, and we're maybe getting together with neighbors and friends, people in other social situations, maybe school starting to end for some people, or not spring break, Christmas break is about to happen, and we have all these different connections, and there's some happiness in these specific moments that I just named, that we're all in that happy state as well. Or something sad has happened, or maybe even traumatic has happened, and we're able to connect with people. This is a very emotional thing. My mind kind of just goes back to like 9/11. It's the day the world stood still. Everyone just became each other's support in a way of, we're all just going through this terrible thing, and we're all leaning on each other, and we're helping each other through this. But we have that understanding, we have that connection, and that's what brings us all closer together. Decision making is another one. So emotions influence our choices by highlighting what's important to us. So if we've experienced something happy, our decision making is going to be that was great. So we're going to make very similar decisions going forward to maybe lead into a similar experience. Or vice versa with something that was maybe cause us fear or maybe some anxiety or some sadness that we're going to probably stay away from that. But it's going to help and lead us in our decision making. And then motivation. Positive emotions motivate goal pursuit, while negative emotions push us, to address problems. So, kind of going back to decision making, like things that made us happy, they're going to motivate us more. And for example, um, when I was in school, and I'm in school now too, I get super motivated seeing at the end of the semester my grades and the joy that it makes me feel of I accomplished this. I got an A in this really hard class, and it's going to motivate me to work about the same amount or even harder in my next semester and my next classes because I love that feeling, and it's going to motivate me to continue to pursue these really good grades and to continue to push myself to get those good grades. And then information processing. Emotions shape our perception of events, so giving them added significance. So when we experience something in our lives, the emotion that's tied to it, again, I'm going back to the movie of Inside Out, of um, those maybe core memories um, that Riley has, or even just all the different memories and all the different colors. These shape how we perceive events. So, kind of going back to decision making again of how something occurred, how we felt about it, and how we can maybe lead to that again, or it shapes us to the person that we are of I experienced that, this is the emotion I felt, and this is who I am today. Of just these different things that we can come across in life. So we have the different types of emotions. So there's primary and there's secondary. So primary is um, limited. It's a limited set of emotions. So typically manifested and recognized universally. And they're very basic emotions. So it often includes fear, anger, joy, sadness, maybe some contempt, maybe some surprise. Um, and some theorists also include maybe some shame, shyness, and guilt in there as well. But secondary is not recognized or manifested universally across cultures. Like how joy, fear, sadness, they're so basic. Everyone knows these. Everyone knows smile, you're happy, frown, you're sad, angry face, stuff like that. It's all very universal. But with secondary, it becomes a little bit more specific. And so it requires some social experience for its construction. So pride can be represented as a secondary emotion, stemming from the conjunction of a primary emotion, joy, and a favorable public reaction. Um, Other secondary emotions can include envy, frustration, jealousy. Okay, and then we have the basic emotions. So this just goes back to the primary emotions. So happiness, anger, fear, sadness, surprise, disgust. Um, so pretty much everything that you see again in the Inside Out movie, it's just so well done and it's so plain that I keep tying it back to that. But we have like joy for happiness and anger and fear and sadness and disgust. Surprise can kind of get mixed in with anxiety sometimes of just being surprised or maybe anxious about an upcoming situation. And then, so complex emotions. Complex emotions are intricate feelings that often combine multiple basic emotions, such as happiness, sadness, fear, and anger. In response to a situation, these emotions can be difficult to identify or describe because they are nuanced or layered. For example, feeling bittersweet might involve a mix of happiness and sadness, while feeling guilt can combine regret and fear. Complex emotions are shaped by personal experiences, social context, and cognitive processes. And they often require deeper reflection to fully understand and navigate. And so this is something that's very common that I feel like a lot of people don't realize, but we can feel multiple emotions at once, and it's totally normal. And sometimes it's not just two emotions, sometimes it's four emotions. Um, like starting at a new school, maybe, or a new job, or we just moved somewhere. There's a little bit of excitement of like, this is something new, this is exciting, but maybe some sadness of we just left this school or this job or these friends or these neighbors, but going also to maybe a little bit of fear of, am I going to make friends? Am I going to fit in? Am I going to feel as comfortable? And even maybe some anger too, if it was a forced move or forced change in the situation or change in the environment. But maybe we're a little angry about it too. But we can feel all these emotions at once, and it's so normal. So emotional awareness, and this kind of goes into what I was about to say actually, with how normal it is to feel these. The key is to be able to identify them, to kind of take a second to reflect and to say, okay, I'm feeling this, this, and this. And this is maybe how I'm feeling. Like if I'm feeling sad, this is how I'm feeling sad. Does my heart kind of feel heavy? Does am I walking kind of slower? Like how am I feeling? How is it registering in my body? And to kind of take awareness of that. And that goes into emotional awareness of that it's the ability to recognize and understand our own emotions as well as those of others. It involves being in tune with how emotions influence thoughts, behaviors, and interactions. This awareness is important because it helps individuals manage their emotional responses, communicate more effectively, and make better decisions. By understanding emotions, people can navigate relationships more skillfully, reduce stress, and enhance their overall well being. Emotional awareness also fosters empathy, enabling more meaningful connections with others. So, as we're able to understand our emotions more, we're able to kind of understand others as well. We're able to have that connection of, I'm feeling sad, this is how I feel sad. And when you feel sad, this is how you feel sad. And we're able to kind of see maybe what each other needs in that scenario of, when I'm feeling sad, this is what I need to feel better. And maybe be able to help that person lift themselves up out of that sadness. And we're able to have that connection and we're able to have that empathy. And it just helps strengthen bonds with individuals around us so much more. Okay, and then so to finish off this week, there is an exercise, kind of an assignment I want you to do this week. So I want you to daily journal or have like a reflection exercise at the end of the day to track your emotions throughout the week. Write down what emotions you have felt during the day and maybe what led to that emotion, what happened right before that made us feel that emotion. And then identify the physical sensations that you have with each emotion. So when you're angry, what does your body feel like? When you're sad, what does your body feel like? When you're happy, what does your body feel like? Maybe some anxiety or maybe some fear. What's going on with our body right now? And as you're able to become aware of it, it'll go into these next few weeks of being able to now manage these emotions. If we're just having a lot of issues with anger, how can we start to manage that anger? How can we just become better with ourselves and with that emotion and to kind of get that awareness around emotions? Um, but yeah, that's all I have for you today. Here are just my resources that I used for this presentation. But thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next week.